Okay, here we have Megatron in his alt mode, which is out of a Cybertronian or Cybertron style tank. Before we go any further though, let's talk about the character bio and packaging. And I'll just bring that in here. And there's his little package with his little stats. Talks about, it says here Cybertronian tank mode. It also says here tank treads convert to hover engines, which I'll kind of look at here a little bit later after we get done with this. And it says here in the little bio for this guy, it says here, Megatron rebuilds himself continuously. When the war first began on Cybertron, he constantly applied new modifications to catch the Autobots unaware and underprepared. His spies are always on the lookout for new tech that will optimize his body into the perfect war machine. He is the bleeding edge of technology on Cybertron, and his enemies will pay the price for not keeping up. So yeah, that's his little bio there, which is, kind of different from what your typical Megatron bio would, kind of says, him being the ruthless leader of the Decepticons, etc., etc. Anyways, let's move on here to the alt mode. Alt mode. I'm not too crazy about it. It's a little better than it looks in pictures, but it's supposed to be a Cybertronian tank, and I think it falls a little short in the tank category. For one thing, it doesn't really have a turret here in that it doesn't rotate around. So if this was a real tank, you would have to move the whole tank to aim the barrel of the gun here. And at the end of the day, basically all it is kind of a big sort of square shaped vehicle, with a gun slapped on the top of it. So in that sense, it kind of falls short. The other thing I don't like is that it's got this little gun here, which is fine, but it doesn't have it on this side, so it comes off being a little asymmetrical. If that's the look they were going for, they certainly achieved it, but I think it would have looked better if it had another gun here or a similar molding there. It does kind of have one here on the top of the barrel here, or the top of this main cannon here. These are modeled after the War for Cybertron video game. I don't own the video game, and I haven't really looked too closely at how well these mimic those designs. So for all I know, this could be spot on with the alt mode in the video game, but still, I think it could have maybe improved a little bit better. This is a deluxe class figure, so maybe if it was a Voyager class, it maybe could have been a little bit better. One other thing I think that takes away from it being a tank is the sense that these treads here are a little undersized, I think, for the overall size and proportion of this vehicle. I think if they were a little bit bigger, it maybe would have helped make it look a little more tank-like. The other problem I have here, there's a couple problems I actually have with it, is one, the little robot hands are visible here, inside here, and I just don't like that. I never like robot parts being clearly visible on the exterior of the alt mode, so that's just a no-no for me. That's something I would take points away for. The other problem I have is that these just kind of unfold and sit against the side here like that, so they're not held in very secure, and they kind of just, they're just kind of hanging off there. And I wish there was maybe a post or something that would have extended out and really locked these into place. As it stands now, they kind of feel a little like just flimsy, or not so much flimsy, but just kind of a cop-out, like laziness. Like they didn't really think of securing those when they probably could have without much effort, really. It does have some little wheels here on the underside, which will allow it to roll a little bit, but it probably kind of wants to slide a little bit more than roll. So depending on the surface you got it on, it may not roll all that great. The cannon here is really his only accessory if you even want to consider it one. It didn't come with anything else. And it does have a little spring-loaded firing missile in there. So you just kind of press this little button right here and it just shoots out like that. It's this little purple-colored plastic missile. And if you're familiar at all with Transformers animated Swindle, it has a similar kind of gimmick when you lock in the missile to the cannon here, and that it will change the color here like that to like a solid purple there. So that's kind of a cool little feature. I like that they did that. Real quickly though, let's do a little size comparison here. And I got Cybertron, or War for Cybertron Soundwave here. So you can kind of see they're roughly about the same size here. So yeah, it's just the barrel here that makes Megatron look a little bit bigger, but overall they're basically the same size. I think that'll do it here for looking at his alt mode, so let's just move on to the next part. Okay, so here we go with the transformation on this guy. Real quickly before we move on here, I forgot to talk about his little hovercraft mode or whatever they called it. Basically, you can take these treads and just fold them down like this, and that's supposed to be like his hovercraft mode. I guess what it's supposed to be, or hover tank mode, is that he's got these treads here and they act as thrusters so he can hover and float. I don't really consider this a real mode or a real third mode. It's just folding these down, so yeah, it's kind of pointless really, in my opinion. So let's just move these back and talk about the transformation now. To transform this guy, what you want to do is first of all start with these little flaps here and just kind of move them up, and that'll allow you to get in here and just pull off the little cannon here like that. Just set that off to the side. It just snaps onto this little post here. There's a little hole right here on the other side that clicks into. So the next part would be to do his legs, which are actually right in here. Here's his feet and these here are his legs. So you just unhook these here like that. They're basically held into place by these little posts here that go in these little holes down there. So just take these and unfold them like that. There's one leg, and let's do the other leg like so. And here's his feet. They're on these like great big flaps here. I do wish they would have done those a little bit better. And then just fold these back up so that they're like horizontal. And that's basically his legs and feet there, as you can see there. Now let's move up here and do his arms. The transformation on this guy is pretty simple actually. It's not real complicated. What you want to do first is take these here, his little treads, and get out his little fists, or his little hands like that. Just kind of get in there and pull those out, or swing them out really, like that. Let's get in here and do this one, like that, and this one here, like that. And then what you can do is you want to just bend these in and snap them together, but it's a little trickier than that because there's a little post here and there's another little post up in here, and you'd think you just pull them together and snap, but if you try to do it, they'll hit each other and they won't want to close. You got to kind of do one rotated further than the other, kind of like that, and that'll allow this to kind of overlap each other like that, and then you can kind of snap them together. So this is a little tricky. When I first transformed them, I was like, why aren't they lining up? And it's because of that. You got to kind of bend one down a little bit further than the other. Anyways, you want to take this part here and just kind of unhook it and raise it up like that. And you can take his shoulders here and just kind of pull them apart or loosen them up and just kind of rotate them down or swivel them down. And you can see there I had his head already up. It actually should have been down like this. So normally it would be down like this, and you just rotate it up. And this little piece here just kind of moves up like that and fills up that gap. And then his arms here you just kind of rotate in. Now that'll allow you to bend his arms down like that. And then this piece here you just want to rotate it so that this part here is facing the back. And just kind of push it down and lock it into place like that. And then here on his back you got this little part here, and you just want to rotate it up. Now I don't know if it's just my figure, but it doesn't sit all the way flat against his back there, so there's a little bit of a gap, and that's a little annoying. I wish they would have made it to where that could actually just kind of snap into place or something. But other than that, that's his robot mode there. That's pretty much all there is to it. So let's kind of just pan in here a bit and take a look at him up close, some of the detail. I think they did a good job with this guy in the robot mode. I think his robot mode is much better than his alt mode. I do like in here that they got the actual painted on purple Decepticon symbol. I also like this like clear purple plastic that they have in different parts on him. I wish they had a little bit more of that. I do wish also that he would have had the same shoulder design on this side here, I like this red with the little black and the little cannon on it. I think it would have looked good if it was symmetrical so that it was on both sides. Let's go on down here and look some more at the rest of him. Kind of a little slender waist there. There, you can see there on his knees some of that clear purple plastic again. And there's his feet. You can see they're kind of like these great big panels basically. But yeah, that's pretty much the detail of this guy. And let's just kind of turn him around. There he is in the back. Not a whole lot there. He does have these openings here, which is a little disappointing. But yeah. His cannon can attach on either arm. There's a post here and a post here. And so you can put it on either arm depending on which one you like. I'm going to go ahead and put mine on his right arm here. And you just got to kind of push that in until it snaps into place. And there you go. That's Megatron with his little cannon now. Let's kind of pan out. It is rather large, as you can see there. But that's him there. Quickly, let's do a little brief little size comparison with him. Let's bring back in Generation / War for Cybertron Soundwave. You can kind of see there. So they're about roughly the same size. Kind of looking down there a little bit. So he's a little bit taller than Soundwave, I'd say. Not by much. And as another quick comparison, let's just bring in, we got here Optimus Prime, also from the Generation / War for Cybertron. My guys here are kind of all standing funny here. Let's kind of straighten him out a little bit. But there you go. So yeah, again, I think he's just a little bit taller than Optimus, but not by much. That's just a little quick comparison between figures. Articulation on this guy, not too bad. His head will rotate around. It doesn't really pivot up and down other than what you can get from the transformation. It's not on a ball joint. The arms here will rotate around and kind of bend up and down like so. The elbows here are a little lacking because of the way it transforms. They can go up and down, can rotate like that, and they can rotate here and there, but because it's not a real robot, or real elbow joint for the robot, it's basically transformation here that you're moving. So that's kind of cheating there, but you can get some range with it, but it does look funny there. The wrists or hands don't rotate because of the way it transforms. There's no waist rotation at all. The legs can rotate here at the hips, go up and down there like that. You can rotate here around the knees and bend at the knees, and the feet can go up and down and kind of pivot left and right like that. So the posability on this guy ain't too bad, and it is a rather stable figure because he does have these great big feet here, which I do wish they could have maybe taken these panels and kind of had a hinge here where you could flip them up. I think it would have looked a little bit better. But yeah, you can get him in some decent poses and do different things with him. He's not too bad of a figure, actually. Anyways, my final thoughts on this guy, I'd say it's a pretty good figure to get for the price, for it being a deluxe class. It maybe could have been a better figure if it was a Voyager class figure. A few little minor flaws. I'd definitely say the alt mode is the weaker of the two modes. It's not a bad figure though. I do kind of like it more than I thought I would. I really kind of like the robot mode more than anything about it. There definitely is some room for improvement in this guy, but it's not a bad figure, and for the price of a deluxe figure, I'd say it's worth picking up. Anyways, that's my review here of Transformers Generation / War for Cybertron Megatron.